This conversation was a real disaster for Starmer. He turned out to be completely unprepared for basic questions and was put in an awkward position by a journalist. He did not have the courage to admit his mistakes and apologize to the pensioners. He looked like an idiot with zero intelligence. Shame on him. Ruthless scammers shamelessly take advantage of the weakness of pensioners by offering them deceptive benefits. They deftly redirect people to fake websites, tricking them into revealing their data. These terrible messages are being sent to thousands of phone numbers with a frightening warning: you need to apply urgently before 15th October, otherwise the payments will disappear forever. This is simply outrageous, as is the callous policy of the Labour Party. Pensioners, plunged into the abyss of despair and not knowing how to cope with life's difficulties, become vulnerable and less cautious, which makes them easy prey for intruders. Labour, in an effort to save £1.4 billion a year, decides to limit benefits. And all this is happening despite loud promises to protect the most vulnerable segments of the population. It's not just politics, it's a real tragedy.
Bob.
Did you know that besides being an ardent Taylor Swift fan and attending her concerts, he also had the opportunity to talk to her personally, and he even met her mum? He received tickets to her concerts as a sign of gratitude for providing the singer with reliable police escort due to the monstrous threats of attacks. But what is really outrageous is that the protection of one of the richest and most influential superstars in the world is considered an absolute necessity, but taking care of ordinary citizens who really need support is considered a matter that they can handle themselves. This is simply outrageous. Where is the sense of justice and priorities?
Well, let me just deal with that, because obviously in the busy period running up to the election, lots of people were helping the Labour Party, and some made offers of gifts towards clothing, etc. We're very tied up at that stage, and therefore I took donations towards clothing. Now that was in opposition. We were busy working flat out on the election. Obviously we're in government now, and you won't be seeing declarations like that from me in future. So that's the long and the short of it.
No more donations for clothes?
No.
Starmer has absolutely no regrets and continues to accept gifts with full determination. He denies all charges. The idea that taxpayers should pay for the wardrobe of high-profile politicians and their spouses, I think he likes it even more. Deputies are required to report on gifts and donations received within 28 days, but oddly enough, there will be no investigation into Starmer regarding the financing of his personal needs. He insists that he cannot go to the podium because of security reasons. Thus, if he refuses the gift, he will miss the match. For him, the idea that he won't be able to attend an Arsenal game just because he can't accept a gift looks just ridiculous and outrageous. The government has announced its intention to allocate at least £3 billion annually for military support to Ukraine over the coming years. After meeting with Zelensky, Starmer confirmed that military assistance would continue for at least another 5 years, which only worsens the situation. Since 2022, the UK has provided Ukraine with almost £12 billion in support, of which £7.1 billion were allocated for military assistance and the rest for humanitarian and economic support. But what did it do? Only more suffering, more tears and more deaths. Starmer called on the Allies to increase defense spending, but did not explain how this would be combined with the need for economic growth. Meanwhile, questions about the expediency of escalating the conflict remain unanswered. Was there any noticeable improvement in the situation after the start of NATO funding for Ukraine? No, the situation is only getting worse: more deaths, more provocations, more aggression. It would make more sense if the government focused on supporting its citizens instead of sponsoring violence and fomenting conflict. When will we learn to appreciate life and peace? It is now clear to everyone that he is simply lying and evading direct answers, which indicates his unwillingness to maintain real estate tax benefits. The Ministry of Finance does not rule out such a possibility, arguing that difficult spending decisions are ahead. But what does this mean for pensioners? The loss of a 25% discount will result in a loss of up to £543 for those who own Category D housing. More than 10 million pensioners will find themselves without the winter fuel allowance, which is up to £300, and an increase in the marginal price of electricity will increase the bills of the average family by £149. As a result, pensioners may face a terrible deterioration in their financial situation by as much as £992. Is the Labour Party so neglectful of pensioners? That's the only explanation that comes to mind. At every opportunity, the Labour Party shows them cruelty and indifference. People who have worked all their lives deserve a decent old age and respect. They have the right to support because they have made a huge contribution to the development of this country. Pensioners cannot earn extra money. They depend on their modest pensions. During the election, Labour easily promised not to change their benefits when they needed to enlist their votes. This is not just hypocrisy, this is meanness. Homes to Ukrainian refugees are now complaining about them. It is really sad, but some of these refugees abuse our social support system, receiving payments and benefits, although in fact they can fully provide for themselves. One British woman was shocked when she found out that visa applications using her passport had been submitted without her knowledge. She trustfully shared her data with a Ukrainian woman with whom she communicated online and now faces the consequences. Unfortunately, many of those who have come to Britain are not really in need of help. They just want to live at someone else's expense, not trying to integrate into society or find a job. What do you think about it? Write your opinion in the comments. See you later.